Hello everyone. One of the common questions that people are asking these days is, what is the purpose for our trials? What are the purpose for our trials in life? The struggles, the challenges, the pain, the suffering. It's appropriate to ask these questions, especially in a time such as this, and God's Word has so much to say about it. I love to turn your attention to 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 6 to 7, because this is a question that everybody wants an answer to. And as I mentioned, the Bible has a lot to say, but today we're going to focus exclusively on 1 Peter 1 verse 6 to 7, because I think what it has to say will resonate with many of us. I read it for us, 1 Peter 1 verses 6 to 7. It says, "You rejoice in this, even though now for a short time, if necessary, you suffer grief in various trials, so that the proven character of your faith, more valuable than gold, which, though perishable, is refined by fire, may result in praise, glory, and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ." You know, this passage says, rejoice in what? Often when we think of rejoicing, we think of rejoicing in blessing, rejoicing in triumph. But our passage says, rejoice in grief of various trials. Now that's very unique, isn't it? That is unique to the Christian worldview. So we have to ask ourselves, why? Why should we rejoice in this? Well, the passage goes on to tell us, so that our faith may be refined. Now, for what? Is probably the next question we're asking. And our passage tells us, so that the glory, honor, and praise of God may be magnified. It may result in these things. You know, our passage here tells us that our trials are not wasted. In fact, our trials are far from meaningless. And that's so important for us to recognize. We are not a product of randomness, of chaos. There is intentionality even in aspects of our lives where we feel like it could be completely meaningless. Our passage tells us trials are not wasted. They are moving towards something. Now, before we clarify what that something is, I'd love for you to turn your attention to just verse 6. It says, even though now for a short time. That's good news, isn't it? Because right now in our current situation, it feels like this isolation is going on forever. And I know that for many of us, we've been struggling in life even prior to this COVID-19 crisis. But our passage gives us perspective. It's for a short time. When will that short time end? This week? Maybe this month? Maybe? We don't know. But our passage gives us certainty. It says, at the revelation of Jesus Christ, when Christ, in verse 7, comes back again. You know, our passage tells us that trials are for our joy and for God's glory. I love this passage because it tells us that what fire is to gold is what trials are to our lives. There is a purifying, sanctifying, and clarifying process that trials bring. It brings us to realize that the things of this world, our success, our relationships, our goals are nothing compared to what Christ has to offer to us. And sometimes we need trials in our lives to recognize we've been building our lives on the wrong foundation. When trials come and rip all of these things out of our lives, we can confidently and honestly say, Christ is enough. And that's where God wants us to be. To recognize that He is all that we could ever want, and He is all that we could ever need. You know, the Bible doesn't seek to explain away our trials. It doesn't pretend like it is not there. It presents the realities of life in a very raw way, and that's so helpful for us, isn't it? Because that's the world we live in. And the Bible gives us certainty, it gives us hope, and it points us to Jesus Christ.